church or not.
Yes, he does.
I was there, I swear. 10 seconds. You got a minute. You ready? Besides my grease states, I wrote down my questions.
Okay, I'll call the meeting of the McHenry County Zoning Board of Appeals to order. Before we start the hearing, we'd just like to take a moment of silence in recognition of President Carter's, the National Day of Mourning today, and President Carter's funeral. So let's just take a moment of silence. Thank you. The purpose for our hearing today is application 2024-021. This is a request for a change from the A2 Agricultural District to the B1 Neighborhood Business District with a conditional use permit for off-site services businesses and a variance to reduce the setback of the house from 30 feet to 13 feet. The address for this petition is 21018 Dunham Road, Marengo. The applicant is Salvador Olivio. This is a 5-acre parcel at the northeast corner of Dunham Road and Bussey Road in Dunham Township. And the PIN number associated with this parcel is 0625300010. At this time, I'll have members of the Zoning Board of Appeals introduce themselves in the township in which they reside, starting on your left.
Mary Donner, Greenwood Township.
Robert Cozen, Algonquin Township.
Charlie Eldridge, Richmond Township.
I'm Linnea Kustra in Alden Township.
Vicki Gardner, Nunda Township.
Kurt Schnabel, Riley Township.
Jessica Beverly, Door Township.
This petition has been reviewed and the following items have been received prior to today's scheduled hearing. The publisher's certificate of publication from a newspaper is dated December 14, 2024, and thereby meets ordinance requirements. The affidavit of posting was signed and the date posted was December 10, 2024, and thereby meets ordinance requirements. The affidavit of mailing was signed and the date mailed was December 12, 2024, and thereby meets ordinance requirements. The survey has been checked against the petition, legal notice, and publication in the newspaper, and all three match. Filing fees have been paid. The endangered species consultation was not required for this petition, and the McHenry County Soil and Water Conservation District report has been received. This would be NRI number L240324588. For those of you who have not been to a hearing before, this is a quasi-judicial hearing. We take evidence. This meeting is being recorded. If you can't hear, I just encourage you to come up closer to the front because we don't have microphones or anything like that. But just to let you know how the hearing works, the petitioner will present their evidence to the board. When they are finished, then the board will ask them questions. Then staff will be able to allow them questions. Then if any of you have a question, it has to be regarding the testimony. It can't be outside. You can't ask the petitioner any questions outside of what he's asking for today. But anyone who would like to speak will be given 3 minutes to ask questions of his testimony. Then after all that has been done, then we will receive the report from staff on what their findings were on this petition. And then the board would ask them some questions. After all that's finished, then if you have a comment, you will have 3 minutes again. So remember, the first time you can't give any comments about the petition. You can only ask questions. The second opportunity you have to speak will be no questions, only your opinions or facts, whatever you have to bring forth. So anyone who feels that they might want to speak today, I'll have to swear you in. Again, this is quasi-judicial. This is not like a rally. There's no cheering. There's no speaking out of turn, or you'll be asked to leave. But anyone who would like to ask questions or speak today, please raise your right hand and I'll swear you in. Do you affirm that the testimony you give, this includes the petitioner?
Oh, okay.
Will you affirm that the testimony you give today shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, at this point, then we'll turn it over to the petitioner, and you can present your case. Please introduce yourself and your
Hi,
address.
my name is Rosendo Herrera. I'm part owner of Junior Seamless Gutters, and we are applying for the requesting conditional zoning change for this property at 21018 Dunham Road. We are trying to use this location as a parking lot and a warehouse. And so right now, we are only using this place. We don't own this place yet. Salvador, the owner, let us use this facility for a few months until we find a place.
You are
So-
not the applicant?
I'm sorry?
The applicant is sitting next to him, Salvador,
On the line.
right there.
Okay, okay,
Salvador speaks primarily Spanish.
okay, all right.
So, with this being said, our goal is to run our business out of this location. And so right now, we don't own everything that is in this facility, so that means there's cars, other trucks, other items in the facility that are not owned by the company. We're talking to Salvador about buying this location and obviously to improve this place. If we get the approval, obviously, if we get denied, we're gonna go somewhere else. We're asking for a chance to run our business out of this location because it's center of our operations. It's convenient for us because most of our employees live in Harbor. So it's close by. It's close by me. I don't live in, and nobody lives in that house. He owns that house. I'm not familiar with the people that live in the house. It's not part of our agreement. He let us use the warehouse and parking lot. We've been doing a lot of improvements ourselves to make this place better, cleaner. But as of right now, we're only talking to Salvador about buying this location. We can't do any changes until we get the approval or not. I was talking to Salvador before this meeting, and he's saying if we don't get the approval, this location is gonna go back to probably being rent for other situations, for other landscapers. He used to let friends use the warehouse for gatherings. And what I hear from other people is that that was one of the problems that neighbors had, the noise and stuff. So just to be aware of that, Junior Seamless Gutters, we don't own this farm. He owns this place. We were trying to buy it after, we've been there for a few months. And I guess we find out that this location was actually really good for us because it's in the center of our operations. We established that we only have 6 or 7 trucks. I see pictures from neighbors that are concerned about the amount of cars and trucks. Just to make that clear, not everyone is ours. If we get the approval, we'll be buying this location and we'll be doing things differently. We'll be cleaning, we'll be redoing the fence, we'll be doing the landscape. It will be a better, nicer place. Traffic, if the neighbors think there's a concern, I will take that in consideration, but it's only 6 trucks. And people that work, they usually drive together 2 to 3. So our estimate, it will be anywhere from 5 to 6 cars a day. And the trucks come out of the location once and come back once. That's it. We don't build anything on the location. We don't use that building for nothing but a warehouse. And I would highly appreciate if you guys let us work out of this location. It's really convenient, but if you we don't get the approval, we will probably go to Wisconsin. We've been looking at other options over there. They're a little more flexible. I have a lot of, how I put it, I know a lot of people in the area, they own business. They have a landscaping business, they have a concrete business, they have farming, and they have a lot of different items on their properties. And they were able to run their business without any changes. Unfortunately, we were on the spot where somebody didn't like what we were doing and started calling everybody, the cops, the county, concerned about what we were doing. And I just thought it was unfair because there's a lot of other business running out of their farm. And I'm not gonna tell you who they are because that's none of my business. But we're just trying to run a business and we're trying to do it by the book, but we get nothing but no. I will definitely appreciate if we get the opportunity of making this place better. And the neighbors, they've probably been around this location for years. And they probably see the upcoming, they probably see that we've been working on this place. It looks a lot better than 5 years ago. So it's gonna look better if we get approval. Because we're gonna, and like I said, 5 trucks, 6 trucks, 5 cars, that's not the end of the world. But I get it, we're not Walmart, we're not gonna be a superstore, we're not gonna have our office, we're planning on using the house as an office for our 2 secretaries. It's not gonna be open to the public. It's just for payroll, invoices, all of that. So with that being said, I was gonna say thank you for the opportunity, and here we are.
There's certain standards that you need to address
Yeah.
regarding this change in use, and you understand that changing from the A2 district to the B1 neighborhood business district allows any type of business that's allowed in a B1 district to be there. You understand that? Okay. So there's standards that you have to address regarding that change in zoning. Maybe Anna, you could put those up and they could address the map amendment. Could you just go through those and address those?
Yeah. So the approval standard for the zoning amendments. So exactly what are you telling me?
Well, you have to tell us, like, is it compatible with the proposed zoning with the existing use and zoning of nearby property? And, what is the extent that the property values of the property are diminished by the existing zoning? You have to address each of those points to the board.
Okay, so starting with A. So the proposed zoning with the existing use of zoning nearby property. So our only goal is to be able to run our business. And the only way that we're able to do it after complaints is by changing the zoning. We're not planning on running any other kind of business but our warehouse and parking lot in the back. And if that gets approval, we'll be buying that location. And like I mentioned it already, if we ever decide to get any bigger, which I think we're good where we are right now, we're gonna end up buying a commercial facility somewhere else. So that's going to be the extent in which property value of the subject property are diminished by the existing zoning. To be honest, I don't understand a lot of that.
Okay, so that's just asking, is a property diminished by having it as residential zoning right now?
How is it gonna be diminished?
It's
No.
agricultural zoning, no.
It's agricultural, that's correct. It's an agricultural residence right now.
No, we're not gonna change anything. It's just the requirements for us to run our business from there. It's not supposed to change anything else.
Okay, and the extent to which public health, safety, and welfare of the public are promoted with the existing zoning?
We've been in touch with health department, water department. So in order for us to run this business, we had to follow the rules, get everything by the book with them, so you'll be safe and by the book. So that's been already established. That if we ever get approval, we had to follow all the codes, health department, water department. That's actually, if anything, it's gonna be a better place than what it is right now, more secure, healthier.
Okay, the relative gain to the public as compared with the hardship that would be on you if your zoning is denied.
So what are you telling me? What's the benefit for the public around?
What's the relative gain to the public as their gain versus your hardship if your zoning is denied?
So what's the benefit to the public?
If it gets denied?
No.
What's the benefit to the public to have this business there?
Well, technically, I'm employing people from the area. That's the benefit. If I go to Wisconsin, I'm gonna hire people from Wisconsin. And we employ anywhere from, including the staff in the office, salesmen, people that are not gonna be there at all. We employ about 24 people. And at least 60% of them are from Harvard. So if we end up going to Janesville, which is our other option, I'm assuming that they're not gonna follow me all the way over there. So I'm gonna be hiring people from Wisconsin, paying taxes in Wisconsin.
Okay, the suitability, how suitable is the property for the purpose that it's presently zoned?
That is currently zoned, it's suitable, but they will not let me use it because there's been complaints. So I had to change the zoning for the complaint that have been made.
Okay. The length of time the property has been vacant as zoned, considered, the property is being used as a residence right now?
Technically, yes.
A rural residence at the A2 zoning? Yes. And what's the community need for your proposal to
What they
change
need
this?
from me,
The community need for you to change the zoning? You can't talk, you're not sworn in.
He did.
He did.
He did.
I did these two gentlemen.
Oh, he did too.
He
Oh,
did
you did?
too.
Oh,
It's the
okay.
guy at
Okay.
this
My son.
Okay, okay.
Some words we don't understand. He knows better than us.
Okay,
That's why
excellent,
we
okay.
ask you to-
Okay, good, as long as you're sworn in, yeah.
Tiene que hacer el driveway,
Oye.
yes, baños, ¿qué más?
So what was the question again? Because I
The
think
community need for this use,
what's the community need?
yeah.
Honestly, don't really
Does the
understand what you're talking
community
about.
need your business in this location for?
Why the community needs this? Well, to begin with, we need this location for our business. How the community, why they need this location there? Because I can serve everybody around. I've done a lot of work around the neighborhood, and it's an advantage for them to have somebody local. And like I already said, the community is benefiting out of, we employ people. We employ about 24 people. And they also get somebody close by to service their roof, their siding, their gutters. When you call somebody from out of the county, from Chicago, from other areas, they're gonna charge you more. So they get a benefit. And like I said, I already done a few jobs really close to this location, and they were really happy with the work, and they were glad that we were in the area. And they were also saying, I hope that you guys get approved, you are hard workers, this and that.
Okay. I'm seeing in the report that each of us have now that Mr. Olivio, the owner, that you filled out and you answered these questions on your application? You understand what I'm saying to you? You remember filling out like this paper
Yeah.
and this paper?
So
So
we're going to.
would you like us to accept your answers to these? You know, we can take your testimony as the owner from this questionnaire that you filled out when you filled out your application for this. Would you like us to take that as your answers to these questions?
Si quiere incluir estas preguntas, diga que sí. Las preguntas que contestamos,
Oh.
que si quiere que la incluya.
Yes? Okay.
Included, please.
Then we won't have to go through this with the man who wants to purchase your property. Since you're the petitioner and you answered these, we can just take these as your answers.
No, ya está, nomás quería asegurarse que las
And you're
preguntas se las
comfortable
está
with
aprobando
that?
porque usted está
Okay.
tomando el decisionario de esto.
Okay, so, given that then, I will just turn it over, unless you have something else you want to say, I'll turn it over to
Yeah,
questions.
no, the only thing that I have to add to this is we've been trying really hard because most of us grew up in Harbor. We want to be part of the community. Luckily, we started this business 6-7 years ago. We started with one truck. It got to the point where we got 6-7 trucks now.
The most important thing, I think,
We-
we want to do that.
One person can talk at a time.
So, like I was saying, we like to keep the business local. That's our main goal. When Leafy's got the complaints, because we were running a business, the only thing we do, if you're gonna call it running a business out of that location, is the warehouse, we're using the warehouse, and we're using the parking lot, that's all we do there. So when we started receiving complaints, letters that we had to go somewhere else, we thought about just letting it go. I have a couple other properties that we're looking at. Like I said, the one that is ready to move in is in Janesville, Wisconsin. But like I told him, which is the owner. So I told him, you know what? It would be nice to avoid all the headaches and just go somewhere else. But as a part of this community, we want to keep it here. And we really appreciate you guys giving the opportunity. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll start with questions on that.
Thanks. Just to be clear, this is a map amendment. So it wouldn't just, it would be forever, this property would be B1. And even if your business deal fell through or you closed your business, this property would be a business. And any business could move in there and do anything that they wanted to. And as part of the approval standards for the map amendment, I just want to be really clear that the compatibility of the proposed zoning with the existing use and zoning of nearby property. Anna, can you pull up the map that shows the existing use of other, okay. There are no businesses in this area. There are no home businesses. There are no landscaping, storage facilities, none of that. This would be the only one in this whole area. And according to our 2030 plan, which you reviewed and was in the staff report, it's inconsistent with the vision for that area.
I can see your point, that obviously people around don't want a business there because they want the nice, quiet country.
Right, I just wanted to be clear that this goes beyond like your very nice business that employs people in our county. This is like a forever thing with the land, and if the land were to change hands, it would always be a
Well, don't forget that our
business.
petition is only,
So this is more than just approving you having a company that employs people in the county. This is like a land use designation that will follow this land forever.
well, it's conditional to begin with, which means it will be for 10 years, I hear.
That's the conditional use part. You're asking for a map amendment. So you're asking to go from an A2, which is like a small agricultural rental property residence, to a B1, which is like any business, gas station, anything could come in there once the land is changed. It also changes the value of the land. It skyrockets and you could sell it to anybody. And so I just want to be clear that this is beyond just like people are angry you're parking a lot of trucks there that may or may not be yours. This is like a a forever change with the land.
I understand what you're saying. Well, the only way that we try to do this is because, again, at one point, somebody, I don't know who, and I will not tell if they knew, start complaining about our business. And when you said there's no other business, yeah, they're not registered. They're just running their business out of their house, out of their farms, without any registration. I mean, I can have a bunch of cars, landscapers, and my farm, which I've seen a lot, and not have business legit. They're not running the business out of this place, but they have all the equipment, all their disposal
Well, and
is
we
there.
see a lot of that too. I mean, this is beyond that though.
Yeah, I understand that.
And this is about the owner, the current owner of the land, and maybe all those trucks aren't yours, but they're on the property, and
Well,
that's against our
That was my
unified
point to begin
development.
with. If we get the approval, that will change. Because right now I can't tell him what to do because it's his land. He let us use that part of the parking lot and the building. The rest of the property is still his, or is his still. So he's doing whatever. I can't tell him, take those cars out of your property. I can't. He let us use that part, that back parking lot behind the building and the building itself. That's the only thing we control. Anything that he parks on the surroundings, I can't do
This
anything.
hearing though is about the property.
Oh, I understand that, but
Okay.
that was the only option that we had.
I understand. I just wanted to be clear. I don't have any specific questions. Thank you.
Mr. Schnabel.
Have you had communications with anyone from Dunham Township?
No.
This board is in receipt of a letter addressed to Chair Kustra from October, and I'd like to refer to this one light item. In simple terms, changing this parcel to B1 would result in spot zoning, often referred to as an entering wedge, as they term it, which leaves the area open to further development elsewhere nearby of the same or similar type. You're not aware of that?
No.
Thank you very much.
That's it? Ms. Garten?
Now, is there actually a business running off of this property now besides yours?
No.
Okay, but there's like 4 or 5 violations on this property. Those, because you don't own the property, you're not responsible for those, is that correct?
Well, when we started getting complaints, violations, if you call them,
That's what we call them.
well, some are complaints, some are violations. So we attacked him, and I said, we need to address this part. And he said, well, there's 2 options for you guys. You buy this place and you can do all these updates, you can take care of the place, or find somewhere else.
So let me ask you this. If you had never shown up with your company and wanted to buy this property or use this property for anything, those violations would have still taken place or no?
Not if you had it. Not if it was
Not if you
mine.
had it, but if you had never shown up, there would still be violations, is that
I
correct?
cannot answer you that question. Yeah.
And do you have any violations on your business?
No.
Okay, so these violations are associated with the owner of that property? Okay. Where was I going with this? And you don't know what he uses the property for?
We were told that he was letting people use his house, friends, I honestly don't know. I tried to stay out of it. I also I have a good friend who lives right on 20 by the curb, if you're familiar with the area. And he said they used to have a lot of get-togethers there on the weekends. And some of the neighbors were complaining about it.
Okay.
So when we move in, that ends because we are using the facility as a warehouse, that building specifically.
So is
That's
there
all
a
about it.
business running out of that property now that's not yours, or no? Only yours? Okay.
Well, there's people living in the house. I don't
Mr.
know.
Livio, do you understand the question?
No, he understands.
Please.
I can translate. What was the question here?
Is there a business that is being run out of the property now that is not from this gentleman who's trying to buy the property?
No, then que nomás.
There's no business?
He said no, he's just renting the house.
I'm sorry, you need to speak up, so
He's
everybody.
just renting the house, but no other business.
He's just renting the house. Okay. And he's renting it to,
Not to us.
not to you, to someone else, who's apparently having wild parties and has lots
The
of,
parties was us.
it was you.
That's before we moved.
Okay. So then you decided no more parties, right?
Well, they can't, because we're using the warehouse.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you.
But next, I'm going to buy all you guys.
He said if we
I'm
get,
moving Harvard, not buy a
No.
piece, big piece alone. And I'm gonna make another one over there.
Okay, so I think that's all I have for now, so I'll pass.
Mr. Eldridge.
Yes. Do you have a written agreement with the property owner that if you get your zoning to buy the property, or is it just discussion?
no, we haven't agreed.
You have a written agreement?
No, verbal,
No,
just verbal.
Thank
Oye,
you.
¿tiene algo escrito?
sí,
Oh, there is,
a contract.
which I didn't know. Like I said, the business is between us. So,
We
I'm
have-
pretty much
que tenemos un contrato, yeah.
out of the country, out of the state a lot, so they have a contract that I was not aware of.
Okay, a written contract. Thank you. Yep, that's it.
Mr. Cozen.
I'm just trying to understand 2 points.
Sure.
First, you said your scope of interest extends as far as Janesville, Wisconsin, which is 44 miles from this corner. How did this corner garner attention in an area of 44 miles?
Which, this one,
That's what this corner is?
Well, okay, well, we're from Harvard originally. Our employees are from Harvard, 90% of them, 80% of them. Our work is anywhere in Milwaukee, Madison, Peoria, Chicago, Naperville, Rockford, Aurora. So being over here, we're kind of at the center of everything. Going to Janesville, we're going to that end. So it'll be a longer drive for us to go there. Why do we thought about Janesville? Because we find a location that meets all the requirements and is something that we can actually buy. Do we want to go there? No, but it's the only option that we have right now. Because everything over here, we're going to find the same problem that we have right now.
Let me restate, what physical characteristic of this location stands out from any other location within that whole zone? Not your business, not the residency of your employees.
We love the place. It's a nice, quiet place. It's a really nice neighborhood, if you want to call it. I think it's really nice people that live around. They've been obviously concerned about that, but they've been really respectful, and I appreciate that. We thought about Rockford one point. We were there for a while, renting a place. Nope, not do that. We're not going to Rock forever. So just the difference in between locations that we try or we actually been looking around is something that is in a really good location for us, and we like the place. We like the area that we're in. We got a lot of friends that live around. We have a lot of neighbors that we know. We have other people that live in farms themselves. It's just convenient for us, and we like the area.
I have no other questions.
Ms. Tony.
I understand the need for your type of business and appreciate your desire to work in this area. All the things you say, I can understand from your perspective. Unfortunately, I can't use some of the things that you say in order to make my decision,
Of course.
okay? So,
You have questions?
What do you
right,
need?
right. It's just,
Yeah, what to
it's
say,
an
well-
appropriate one for this.
It will help.
Yeah, it's communication.
Yeah, and-
Just that. And please, so, my question is, if you have to go up to Janesville, your people are going to be up in Janesville. Your business is going to be up in Janesville. How different is that going to be for what's happening now? Where are you located now, besides this place? You have your business is kind of working out of this now without permission, okay? So, where were you before this?
We were in Harbor,
Okay,
and we were in a farm.
okay,
When we started with one truck, which was not a
Okay.
big deal to begin with. They said, well, you can park over here. When we get two or three trucks, I can remember. They told us in Harbor, in the city of Harbor, you can't be here.
okay,
So we went out in the country in a farm, which we never had for, 4 or 5 years. We were there, no complaints, nothing. Our
Okay.
business is registered in Harbor. Our office are in Harbor.
okay, no, I understand
So
that.
we were parking in a farm for about 5 years, I believe.
It's okay.
5 years. And nobody ever said anything.
Okay,
The owner had other plans for his property, and he told us we had to go somewhere else.
okay, thank you, that's all I have for now.
Staff have any questions?
No questions at this time.
I just have a couple questions. Do you know what a land use plan is?
What do you mean, well land?
Well, that was my question. Did you know? And it seems like, a land use plan is a policy that's developed by the county and where they want to see certain types of land uses in the future, where they'd like to see things. Are you familiar with something like that?
Like agriculture, farming?
It's a policy document that the county adopts, and it guides development as to where they think development should go. Are you familiar with that at all? Okay. Okay, and are you familiar with, maybe you've become a little familiar with zoning laws? I mean, in zoning in the county, there's certain classifications, and in those classifications, certain uses are allowed, and then there's other uses that are not allowed.
Yes.
That you're familiar with?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And Mr. Singh, okay, all right. And a land use plan, the same? Do you understand a land use policy document, that's what the county has? I just want to be sure that because some of these things that we take into consideration when we vote are those policy documents. That's our job as a zoning board. We have to look at what are the policies the county has adopted, where they want growth to be and where they want certain uses to be. So I just want to make sure you're aware of that. Okay. All right, well, we'll go over that when the staff will give their report, and they'll explain kind of what they have found with that, what the policy documents are. But at this point, I will open it up to anyone in the public that has a question for you regarding your testimony. I will use my phone, and each person that would like to ask a question, again, you have time for your comments later on in the hearing, but it's a 3-minute time limit, and I just use my phone, and you have to come up and give your name and address, and then you can ask questions if you'd like. So is there anyone in the audience who would like to ask a question?
Oh, no, it's
Okay, seeing none? Oh, yes, sir, you do have one.
Over.
Yes.
Where do I?
You can stand, or if you'd like to sit, it's up to you.
I have several questions, so cut me off.
Okay, I'll start my timer, and when you're
First of all,
done,
I
you're
didn't
done.
catch
Okay,
The
your
owner's
name and
name.
address.
Oh, I'm Dan Zerby, and I live at 21403 Dunham Road,
Okay,
Harvard.
Okay.
Even though that's a Marengo address. I
okay.
didn't catch your name.
Salvador,
You're Salvador and the owner?
Salvador is the
I'm the
owner.
owner of the property.
Okay, who owns Juniors?
Is
Is that Maclovio?
Yeah.
Thank you. So who's speaking for Maclovio?
Rosendo Herrera, part owner of Juniors.
You're part owner?
Yes.
Okay. You said a few things that didn't seem to coincide with your application. You seem to have doubled your employees. You said you employ 24 people, and yet your application says 12.
When we were asked or filling the application, we were asking how many people we working out of the facility. So there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us that don't go there, not even once a month, myself included.
Okay, another question is, you said a lot of the trucks are not yours. Are yours all the yellow, bright yellow, hard to miss trucks? And you have 3 white trucks that say Juniors on them? That are
There's
quite often in and out?
1, 2 white ones.
And then where is the third one?
Third one, what?
Third white one?
The third one doesn't have a name on it.
The third one doesn't have it, but you have those 3 white trucks then? And in addition to all the yellow trucks? I just want to clarify because
Yeah, no.
you said a lot of trucks are not yours, but I believe all of them that are parked there are yours, aren't they?
They're not all ours.
What truck is not yours?
Do I have to be specific? A couple of yellow ones are not ours.
Well, that's what I'm asking.
Yes.
You just said all the yellow ones are yours.
One of the white ones is not ours either.
Who owns them?
Huh?
Who?
It's not my
I
business
got,
to discuss that.
I got, one's mine,
One is yours?
yeah.
Is that the van?
It's the same, those that are
Okay.
mine. The van is the guy he's renting in the house.
He's talking about the other,
Okay.
the smaller,
So speaking of the house and the business, so you rent this twice. Owners, you rent to renters in the house and renters
Then
of business.
I rented the house, and the place, I don't rent it because when he moved over there, he trying to buy the property.
So he doesn't rent from you?
No.
Oh.
He stay there after we gonna finish out this. He's gonna allow to stay there, he's gonna buy the property.
I got it.
so technically saying that we're trying it out.
So on your application and revised application, over and over, you have waffled on the numbers of trucks. I guess I'm done.
Like
Can
I
you
said,
answer that?
Not every truck of is ours, if you go by the pictures. So, and to make it really clear, and I talked to Anna with that, like, when we get the approval, if we get it, we're gonna stay by the amount that we have in the application. Right now, I can't control it because we don't own that place.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to ask a question? Yes? You'll have to come all the way upstairs. Okay, then we can, the microphone can pick you up. There's no drone up there anymore. Microphone on the ceiling.
I'm Alan Chevelle. I live at 20303 Dunham Road. And my question is,
I'm sorry, what's your name again?
Alan,
Alan.
I thought I heard you say that as your business grows, and I'm assuming you'd like that, that you would leave this property and move to a commercial location
For the business.
for the business? But you would keep the
Oh,
property?
definitely. We're in love with that property.
What kind of business would you put in its place if you move your gutter business somewhere else?
Oh, nothing.
But the land stays as a business.
Yeah, but we can use it as a residential if we want to.
Use it as what?
Residential?
A residential business?
No, residential, period. So
Well,
there's a
then you
house.
change the zoning back.
If we have to, yes.
It's usually not how it's done.
Well, honestly, I never done it, so.
It could be done, but you intend to keep the property, use it for something else.
Well, to make this clear, we are really comfortable the site that we are right now. And when I throw that up there, because I was asked last time, what happens if you get bigger? I was like, well, find a different place. He's in love with the house. He said at one point he wants to retire and live in that house. So at that point, we will do whatever is required to live in that house. If we had to go back to the zoning that is now, we'll do it. I don't think we'll have nobody concerned about that. But that was our idea. He wants to live there when he retires, which is another, I don't know, 20, 30 years. Joking.
Good luck. I guess that's my questions.
All right. Anyone else have a question? Yes.
My name is Kathy Porup. I live at 18803 Dunham Road, Woodstock. The gentleman has said that they have done work for local residences and people in the area. Can you give us some addresses or tell us locations in the immediate area that you tell us you're going to benefit, and who have you done work for, especially since we have had a lot of damage out in that area just recently? I'm just wondering who you have performed work for.
Well, there is one, two, one. Unfortunately, I cannot provide you with that information. That's kind of private. I'm not gonna disclose somebody else's address or names.
That's probably not appropriate. This is about land use. It wouldn't be about his business dealings necessarily.
And I'm not gonna tell
He
you.
said he was staying local, he wanted to do it because he wants to stay local, so I was just wondering
No, and
who in the area
you're
has
right.
helped.
I mean, your question is actually legit, and I understand your question, but I cannot provide you with my client's information.
Can you say how many people in the Harvard area you said?
In the area, we have done 2 houses, I'm gonna say right by 20, 2 in Dunham. So we've done about 5 jobs in the last, I would say, 6 months. And I mean, I had them in my mind, I got the names, but I'm not gonna disclose that information.
Okay. Do you have any other questions in your 3 minutes?
Not at this time.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, at this time, we'll take testimony from the staff.
And I'm sorry,
The report.
it was not 20, 14, my bad. I was thinking about 20, 14.
Oh, Route 14,
Yeah, Route 14.
not 14 locations, but 14, Route
Yes.
14. Okay.
Okay, we'll take the report from Ms. Kurtzman.
Okay, for the record, my name is Anna Kurtzman. I am a senior planner here for McHenry County. The applicant is requesting a rezoning from the A2 to a B1. They are asking for a conditional use permit to have a off-site service business. And they are asking for 2 variances. Those variances would be off of Dunham Road. And the only reason that those are being requested is that the county's Division of Transportation requires that whenever there is a change in use, that right of way be given if it is a county road. Dunham is a county road. So what's shown on the site plan here in that blue area there is the potential area for the dedication going to the county. And that would bring the new street setback too close to the house to meet today's, the B1 standards. So that's the reason for those 2 variances. The site plan does include the house. It does include the 2 parking areas that are north of the barn, the warehouse area. It also notes where the septic and the well locations currently are and where they could be replaced in the future. There is a storage area to the east of the barn that is shown there as well that has since been fenced in. I'm noting the house. There was a comment made about the use of the house. So under B1 zoning, the only way that a residence can occur in a house, a building, is if there is a commercial use either downstairs, commercial use has to be downstairs. The residence portion of the building could be behind that commercial or it could be upstairs. That's the only way that it could be used for residence. So just to make the applicant clear on that, if you do decide in the future, if the B1 is granted, you would have to go for a rezoning to use the entire building for residence.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
that's not on the plans, but thank you.
Understood, okay. Okay, so let's go back to my historic way of going through this. As I noted, the property is A2. The surrounding properties are A1. The surrounding land use, the property itself is designated as a single-family residence. And the surrounding property is agricultural with some residential in the area there. The future land use designation is for an agricultural. There is a very small portion at the northern end of the property that's designated as environmentally sensitive area. The actual use that's being contemplated is not within that area. I had received a communication from one of the board members earlier today asking a couple questions. So I will go through those questions publicly here. Compliance history of the subject property since 2020. In 2020, there was a violation for alterations done without a building permit. I will note that that was under a previous owner, not this owner. It was sent to court. Building permit was ultimately issued and court fines, and the case was ultimately closed. In 2023, there was a violation for operation of a reception facility without proper zoning. Mr. Livio did come in and have discussions with staff after understanding that that was not allowed under the A2 zoning district, and having no further complaints, the violation was closed. In 2024, we received a anonymous complaint for the off-site service business without the proper zoning. That is what's brought this case to you today. During site visits for that complaint, it was noted that alterations were done without building permits. The property owner subsequently did acquire permits, and that case was closed. And then the fence that I noted was also done without a permit, and permits were ultimately acquired and the case has been closed. Have any financial penalties been imposed for the violations? As I noted, for the court case one in 2020, court fees were imposed. Other permits, we charge a double fee. So there's your base fee for your conditional use permit, for your building permit, whatever permit it is, and then that fee is doubled, and yes, he's paid those. A question was raised as to the page 12 of my packet. Is that a proposed site plan or existing conditions? That is the proposed site plan that was done on top of their plot survey. So it's both existing conditions plus their proposed site plan. For the year 2020, what was the use of the property and any record of violations? It was used as a farm, and I found no violations prior to 2020. Does the county have a home occupation as a permitted activity in A2 district, and would such a, as such, would it be permissible for use on this? So home occupations are allowed in all residential zoning districts. agricultural districts included. This would not meet the requirements for a home occupation, and that stuff is being stored outside, and that more than one outside employee is coming to the site. So for those two reasons, this would not meet the requirements of a home occupation. I believe that covered everything I wanted to bring to your attention.
Anna, I see that you say that the city of Harvard is about 4 miles away.
Correct.
And well, we all have your assessment, your staff assessment in here then. And, oh, I know what I wanted to ask you. So all the conditional use and variations and everything are for the B1. So if the B1 is denied, then all those other things are mute.
That is correct.
Okay, does anyone else on the board have a question for staff?
I have.
Yes.
This is probably, very mundane, but I just wanted to get an answer. Is there any way that this change could have been handled with a conditional use only and not a zoning change?
No. It is an A2 district, and this type of a business is not a conditional use in A2 district.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have a quick question. We talked about you living in Harvard, and your address, though, for this particular property is Marengo. Now, you're saying it's 4 miles from Harvard.
That's the nearest municipality.
I
is 4
understand.
miles.
Okay, nearest municipality, whatever it is.
That's
it's
in
a
the report.
municipality that's for, okay, it's just that it was talked about as conflicting Marengo and Harvard in
Yeah,
names.
that's on page 4.
So
Well, I'm just,
part of the
here where's
confusion,
the address, and I understand that, because we've been talking about that.
part of the confusion is the mailing, the postal service establishes their routes, and the mail comes from Marengo to the site, although physically Harvard is closer than Marengo.
Got it. I just wanted to make sure that you were clear on that. That's fine. Okay. Are we up for comments?
No.
No, not yet. Okay.
If there is no other questions for staff, then we'll move to the public participation. So at this point, you have 3 minutes if you would like to make a comment on this petition. So any member of the public that's been sworn in will have the opportunity. Again, I'll use my phone. You have 3 minutes. I'll start with Ms. Kennedy.
We need mics, we need speakers. It's hard to hear you. It would really be helpful. I know it's my hearing too, but anyway, good afternoon. I'm Patricia Kennedy, 20712 Strite Road, rural Harvard. I'm speaking today as representative of Dunham Township, which did speak with some of the people. We will have noted that Dunham Township voted unanimously to oppose the request for rezoning from A2 to B1 for this parcel. The parcel in question is in an area that is shown on both the county and the township land use plan maps as ag. All of the surrounding property, as was mentioned, is zoned as A1 and is being farmed. In simple terms, as was also mentioned before, changing this parcel to B1 would result in spot zoning, often referred to as an entering wedge, which would leave the area open to further development of the same or similar type, therefore thereby destroying the intended use of the area. It should be noted, as was mentioned earlier, that there are 60 uses that are either permitted or permitted by conditional use on property with B1 zoning. These range from auto dealerships to auto repair to the sale of alcoholic beverages to mixed-use dwelling units to gas stations to power production to warehouses, etc. As you know, if this parcel to receive B1 zoning, any other permitted uses could be conducted on this parcel. As has been mentioned also, land is zoned, not people, not businesses, it's the land. none of these uses that would be allowed should be plunked down in the middle of an area that both the township and the county have designated as ag land. Ag land is too important to destroy it. Dunham Township requests that you vote no to this request in petition 2024-021 for rezoning from A2 to B1. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to make a comment? Yes, sir, come on up.
1612 Bussey Road.
I'm sorry, could you repeat your
Sure.
name?
Thomas Hipsch, 1612 Bussey Road.
Thank you.
Right around the corner. I hate to say it like this, it's nothing personal. It's nothing against your business. It's just once the land is zoned business, it's gonna be hard to change back. And I hate to say, it's nothing personal. I've been told this too before. It's nothing personal, it's just the zoning. We like your business, what you're doing. It's admirable, honest work. Unfortunately, we just don't want to see a business. Because once that starts, okay, not jumping to conclusions, but they could open up a truck stop on 23. And, Love's or one of these other, quick stop would go in there. So, again, I'm sorry, but this is the way I feel. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to make a comment?
Guess I'll go again. Dan Zerby, 21403 Dunham Road. And I agree with him. I admire your business. You did a really great job going from one truck to however many you claim to have. But it doesn't belong on Dunham Road where it is zoned agriculture. There's beautiful homes on Dunham Road. There's a lot on Bussey. 73 signatures on the petition in front of you have requested this to be voted no. And we hope you will follow your 2030 plan and act accordingly. Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Okay, at this time, do you have a closing statement? Would you like to
Sure,
say
sure.
anything before we
Thank you.
close?
Well, I would like to thank everybody here for the opportunity, especially Ann. She's been really helpful all these months. It's been a long time. And honestly, to the public here, I understand their concerns. I honestly do. And we would love to run our business out of there, but if we can, well, we have to find another place. Simple as that. Thank you guys for the opportunity, and that's all. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll close the hearing portion for this petition, and we'll move on to the voting portion for this meeting. Again, this is application 2024-021. The request is we'll vote separately. The first thing we'll vote on is the request for an A2 agricultural district to a B1 neighborhood business district. But then also beyond that, there is also a conditional use request for an off-site services business and a variance to reduce the setback of the house from 30 feet to 13 feet. It's a 5-acre parcel at the northeast corner of Dunham Road and Bussey Road in Dunham Township. So at this time,
Madam Chairman, I move for the purposes of discussion, acceptance of the petition.
I'll second.
It's been moved by Mr. Eldridge and seconded by Ms. Gardner for discussion to approve the petition. Discussion, Mr. Eldridge.
Yes, this is a 5-acre parcel that was carved out as a fairly typical A2 some time ago. It is on Dunham Road at the corner of Bussey Road. Bussey Road is a local road. Dunham is a local collector, which is a county road in that area. The comprehensive plan and the updates of the last 2 or 3 times show this area as agricultural. The zoning is agricultural completely around it. There is no business anywhere close. This is a fairly intense use for neighborhood business in any case. I appreciated the petitioner's testimony, but I found most of it irrelevant because I think this is a classic case of spot zoning. I think that it is entirely inappropriate in the location. If it were a corner on a state road and a major collector of some sort, I'd probably support it. But this is not. It is in a very, very rural area that is likely, without prodding from us, to remain rural for a very long time. And that, I believe, is the policy of the county, to permit agricultural areas that are not in the path of development to remain agricultural, at least for the next couple of generations. I do not believe that he has met the standards for compatibility with nearby properties. I don't believe that he's given significant evidence that public health and safety are promoted by any change to the existing zoning. I think the property is entirely suitable for its present zoning and is not particularly suitable for the zoning change he wants to make. Mrs. Kennedy's statement that there are, I think she said, 60-odd alternative uses that could be on this property of right. Should we grant this zoning, should give us pause in any case. There is a community need for his business, but I think not at this location. And for these reasons, I shall oppose the petition.
Ms. Gardner.
I agree with Mr. Eldridge. I do appreciate your testimony, and I sincerely hope that you find another place in our county that is suitable for you. You don't have to go all the way up to Janesville. But for the same reasons as Mr. Eldridge, I'm afraid I can't support this.
Mr. Kozin.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. We are guided by having a finding articulated on the approval standards of a map amendment, which is the underlying foundation that brought this petition before us. Specifically, there is sections D and E, of which no matter what we examine, the applicant has not been able to demonstrate, in my opinion, that there would be a hardship posed on him greater than the hardship on the public. Nor is there any reason that this property is more suitable for the application than any other property. And for at least those two reasons, I will not be voting in favor of this application.
Mr. Schnabel.
I agree completely with everything that's been said up to this point. I will not be supporting the petition either.
Ms. Beverly.
I also agree with everything that's been said. While there's no one factor in the approval standard for map amendments, it is a balancing test, and this petition simply fails the balancing test.
Ms. Donner.
Our guidelines for 2030 and upcoming for 2050 all call for compact and contiguous investment in properties closer to a community, an established community, because of all the issues we have with numerous things. So that creates its own problem. What everybody here has said is factual and I will be voting the same way. But if you did get this at B1, your house would be 13 feet from the street. And I don't think that when you retire, that's what you want to see. So, because that's what happens when it's B1. And you already said you don't want to do that. You want to be able to live there and retire. So everything else here has been exactly what I said at the very beginning. And I wish we could do something.
Me too.
And I agree with my colleagues. I also agree with the staff assessment, which says that this conflicts with the 2030 land use map, which designates this area with agricultural uses. And there are several land use and environmental policies which indicate that changing this classification to B1 is inappropriate at this location. So for those reasons, I'm also voting against this petition. So I will call for the vote. So a vote, if you have to vote nay then if you don't want this to go through. So I'll call for the vote. Mr. Eldridge?
No.
Ms. Gardner?
No.
Mr. Cozen?
No.
Mr. Schnabel?
Nay.
Ms. Beverly?
No.
Ms. Donner?
Nay.
And I'll vote nay. So that motion fails 0-7.
Madam Chairman, I move a denial of the petition.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Been moved by Mr. Eldridge, second by Ms. Gardner to deny this petition. Is there any discussion? And I'll call for a vote. So to deny it, you'll be voting aye. Mr. Eldridge?
Yes.
Ms. Gardner?
Aye.
Mr. Cozen?
Yes.
Mr. Schnabel?
Aye.
Ms. Beverly?
Yes.
Ms. Donner?
Aye.
And I'll vote aye, so this is denied 7-0. So go to the county board with a vote of 7-0 denying this petition. So at this time, the meeting is closed.
You still have the request for the conditional use and for the variance.
so
You still need to
Oh,
take
we still need
actions
to
on
vote on
those
those.
because you are not the final say.
Oh, that's.
You are
true.
advising the county board.
Okay. So let's go through the,
Okay, yes.
so now we'll go through the conditions for conditional use. Number 1, the conditional use shall expire 10 years from the date of approval by the McHenry County Board. Number 2, the conditional use shall substantially conform to the site plan stamped received October 9, 2024 by the zoning division. Number 3, within 4 months of approval by the McHenry County Board, apply for an access permit from the McHenry County Division of Transportation. Number 4, within 6 months of approval by the McHenry County Board, provide the McHenry County Division of Transportation with plat of dedication for dedication along Dunham Road. Number 5, within 4 months of approval by the McHenry County Board, apply for building permits to bring buildings into compliance with the applicable building codes. Number 6, within 1 year of approval by the McHenry County Board, establish a vegetative visual barrier along the entire Dunham Road frontage, north of the new right-of-way line, and along Bussey Road at least 175 feet north of the new Dunham Road right-of-way. The vegetative shall be at least 4 feet in height at the time of planting, with the ability of reaching at least 6 feet in height within 3 growing seasons. Number 7, all other federal, state, and local laws shall be met. Are there any other conditions?
Madam Chairman, I move acceptance of the conditions as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved by Mr. Eldridge, second by Ms. Gardner to accept these conditions. No discussion, I'll call for the vote. Mr. Eldridge?
Yes.
Ms. Gardner?
Yes.
Mr. Cozen?
Yes.
Mr. Schnabel?
Yes.
Ms. Beverly?
Yes.
Ms. Donner?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. So those conditions are approved 7-0. So then we have to vote on the conditional use with the variations. There are 2 variations. To reduce the setback of the house from 30 feet to 13 feet. Oh, that's because of 2 different requests by the county.
Yes.
Okay, so it's just really 1 variation. Conditional use permit for an off-site services business with the variation to reduce the setback of the house from 30 feet to 13 feet. So at this time,
I move, for the purposes of discussion, acceptance of the conditional use, subject to the conditions
Is there a second?
and the
Second.
variation.
It's been moved by Mr. Eldridge, second by Ms. Donner, to approve the conditional use and the variations. Discussion, Mr. Eldridge.
Yes, well, for all the reasons that I presented with regard to the zoning, and for the fact that this is largely moot as a result of our previous action, I shall vote no.
Ms. Gardner.
I agree with Mr. Eldridge.
Mr. Cozen.
I agree with Mr. Eldridge.
Mr. Schnabel.
Sounds like the right thing to do to me.
Ms. Beverly.
No comments.
Ms. Donner.
The same, please.
And I agree with the comments of my colleagues, so I will call for the vote. Again, if you are voting
No.
no, yeah, you're going to vote no if you don't want this to be passed. So Mr. Eldridge.
No.
Ms. Gardner.
No.
Mr. Cozen.
No.
Mr. Schnabel.
No.
Ms. Beverly.
No.
Ms. Donner.
Nay.
And I'll vote no. So this is 0 to 7 for the approval.
Madam Chairman, I move that we deny the conditional use subject to the variations
Is there a second?
and conditions.
Ms. Donner. Okay, I'll call for the vote. Mr. Eldridge.
Yes.
Ms. Gardner.
Yes.
Mr. Cozen.
Yes.
Mr. Schnabel.
Yes.
Ms. Beverly.
Yes.
Ms. Donner.
Aye.
And I'll vote yes. So this is also denied 7 to 0. Okay,
That gets.
thank you, Anna, for clarifying that. It was a little confusing, so I think we have it all now, right?
I think you do, yes.
Okay, very good. All right, thank you all for.
Thank you.